Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting Team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade. Hello, welcome.
Welcome. My name is Niyi Dunmade, founder, CEO, Magnicraft Consulting. Thank you for hooking up with us today. Today is the second to the last Monday of the year 2022, and it delights my heart that I've been coming your way every Monday for the past 3 years plus. Everyone on Facebook Live, everyone on YouTube channel, I want to specially welcome you and greet you especially from the city of Abuja. I've been talking on when church growth becomes a problem. When church growth becomes a problem in Monday Morning Matters. We also say thank you for those who are sharing this content out, hooking up with us regularly from all across the world. I want to just say thank you. We are so glad you are part of this live broadcast show. I'm the lead consultant, founder and CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. And Magnicraft Consulting is on all social media handles. It's a church consulting firm that helps local churches to grow healthier through empirical assessments, trainings, and strategic blueprints. Our vision is to be the leading church health consultancy that creates sustainable and adaptable solutions. I'm a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting and Church Consultation University in the US. I'm your host to the weekly Facebook Live broadcast show on Monday, 7 a.m. Nigerian time. I'm also known as the Church Health Guide of the 21st century. Thank you, everyone. Let's go into the juice of the day. We want to appreciate those who are also doing super thanks on YouTube. I'm so grateful for those who are doing that, liking our posts. I want to do some promo from Dr. Tom Rainer. Dr. Tom Rainer is a mentor I respect so much. I've learned so much from him. Being around him is such a great wisdom of over 40 years. So he has been able to do some discount for pastors who want to go or venture into church consulting. And so you want to be trained, you want to be equipped, you want to be certified as a church consultant to help your own church, to help other churches revitalize and grow healthier. Please just get in contact with me and any of our social media handles, and I'm sure we were going to get you what you need to move your church forward. Okay? And then I want to do a little promo about my book. Please get this book. Even yesterday, some pastors got some copies. Get this book while stock lasts. Get the book on church retention. I discussed with pastors a lot, and one of the things I found out is that they want their church to grow. And so I began to do a lot of research, because that book is backed with a lot of research and out of my experience from the church I worked with. And then I was able to come up with a concept of what will surely guarantee your church growing and becoming fulfilling the great commission that God has placed upon the church. And so what I would say quickly is that the solution to church growth is church retention. Once you are able to get retention right, you are going to get church growth right. I hope you're getting me loud and clear. And so we're going to go straight into when church growth becomes a problem. When church growth becomes a problem. You see, one of the scenarios I will say quickly, and of course, as Bible scholars, leaders of churches, students of churches, you will see that there are times in history that God brings about a revival that causes a burden in the community to come in mass to the church. So when God brings about a revival, it brings also with his pressure of how to be able to manage and disciple people from moving away from the things of the world to the things of the spirit. And so we can look at the Wales revival, even in Nigeria, in the times of Deeper Life, in the times of Church of God Mission, you could see that there was massive revival that brought about a lot of people in multitudes into the church. And so one of the things I want to say quickly is that your church should have a structure in such a way that when God brings about a revival, you can actually process the fish. You see, it's not wisdom to be able to, for God to bring fishes to you and you cannot process the fish, or you don't have what it takes, you don't have the capacity to be able to process what God is going to give you. I put a post on Facebook that if God blesses your church with 3,000 souls, if God blesses your church with 3,000 souls, do you have the capacity? Do you have the competency? Do you have the commitment level to be able to handle such influx of multitudes into your church? God will only bless you if He trusts that you have the capacity, because we're not dealing with cars, we're not dealing with buildings, we're not dealing with money, we are not dealing with material things, non-human resources. We are dealing with human beings. And one of the things I'll say quickly is that the way God values human beings is very, very great. Okay, so when God wants to bless your church, that the way He blessed the church in early church in the Act of Apostles with 3,000 souls, what is your position as a church to be able to process whatever fish in terms of numbers, in multitudes, in millions into your church? It doesn't cost God anything to get souls to come to your church or to harvest souls, because the truth about it is that our population is growing fast and moving very fast. So what happens if God causes a revival in your community? What happens if you have multitudes of people coming to your church? Do you have enough disciples? Do you have enough discipleship process to reinforce the spiritual disciplines to make a disciple matured? You do not have any business with church growth if you don't value souls, and with the you don't have an efficient and effective discipleship plan. You see, one of the things an irresponsible father would do is to give back to a lot of children, but he doesn't have a plan to train them. He doesn't have a plan to make sure that they are learning something in one endeavor in the course of life. So one of the things I would say quickly is that when you are beating the drums of prayers to the ears of God, that you want people to come to your church, make sure that you actually value every soul. I think I made that clear in my book on church retention, because that's the foundation of church growth. Your church cannot grow beyond the level at which you value souls, and so then your church also cannot grow beyond the efficiency and the effectiveness of your discipleship plan. Okay, you cannot get mature disciples when you have this mentality of soldier come and soldier go. That's a slogan in my country, where you have a barracks. A barracks is a place where soldiers live, and then most of the soldiers who stays in the barracks, they know that they are staying there temporarily because they can be deployed to the war front, or they can be posted to other place of assignment. And so the church should not be seen in that mindset of a barracks. You need to make sure that you have the sheep, and then you'll be able to nurture them to maturity. So you cannot get mature disciples, because mature disciples takes time, mature disciples takes commitment, mature disciples takes a lot of work. And so you cannot get mature disciples when church leaders possess a kind of, oh, you are leaving, get out. We have people always coming to our church. That mentality shows explicitly that you do not value souls, and you do not want to do what it takes. Like the shepherd in Luke chapter 15, if you read my book very well, one of the sheep out of 100 sheep was strayed into the wilderness, and the Bible says he went into the wilderness and he didn't come back until he found that lost sheep. So value every soul, value every sheep that God has blessed you with, and then make sure that you are getting what you need to get from every church growth blessing that God will bring your way. So when does church growth becomes a problem? I've said one, when God brings about a massive revival, you can at time will not permit me for me to go into histories. You can see that when God brings about a revival, you see the influx of people into church. But the thing is this: your church must be structured to be able to process them, okay, to be able to follow them up, to be able to establish them, to make sure they are grounded in the faith. Because God will not bring people your church that you cannot ground, because the world itself is stormy and rocky. The world itself has a lot of challenge that if you don't take advantage of grounding and establishing the souls that God has blessed you with, is just a recipe for God not to bless you with more souls again. You can see what happened in Acts of Apostles. 3,000 were added in a day, 5,000 were added because they were doing something with the souls that God was blessing them with. And they were gathering and gathering, but then there's a point whereby they had to begin to spread. Okay, persecution came because the essence of the church is not to gather the numbers in multitudes. The essence of the church is to gather and empower them to go and make the impact in the community. So, but the thing is, acquiring a new member is very important. Okay, we have also said that a church cannot grow without people visiting the church. A church also cannot grow without converts giving their life to Christ. So two windows at which a church will grow is that guests must come into your front door, and then converts will give their life to Christ in the course of the life of that church. So acquiring a new member is very important. Okay, people are going to add, but that's not the ultimate of what church growth is all about. But retaining them as relate discipleship and church growth. When you retain them, you have the opportunity to ground them and establish them. You cannot establish somebody in the faith that you have not been able to retain. You can only ground someone that you are able to retain. Okay, so look at what happened in the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ. They followed him for 3.5 years. I could see that after 3 years, 4 years, you could see the kind of confidence, the kind of boldness, and the kind of things that they did, because they have been established, they have been grounded, they have been groomed, and they have been matured, and they moved from mere men who were just going about their normal businesses. They became to become disciples, and from becoming disciples, they became apostles that were able to birth the church in the early days of the church. So the church growth, it can become a problem, but the thing is, once your church is structured to have and if just assume that if God were to throw a revival in your church, or make sure that 5,000 people come to your church, do you have what it takes to be able to process those 5,000 people? Do you have what it takes to be able to assimilate those people? So I'm going to go to my screen quickly, and I think I made this clear. Now you can see in this box, okay, that we are assuming that if you have a church of 100, and those 100 people are bringing one soul into the church, okay, we're saying that 100 is going to turn to 200 after 1 year, and then after 2 years the 200 is going to turn to 400 after 2 years, and after 3 years it's going to turn to 400 after 3 years. So we're saying that after 3 years, so I repeat again, a church of 100, okay, with 1-to-1 ratio, that means that in a year they are able to double their size. So after the first year, the church turns to 200. After the second year, the church turns to 400. They double from 200 to 400, and then in the third year they double from 400 to 800. So in a space of 3 years, they've added 700 souls. Okay, and I can say quickly that God can add 700 souls in one service, because he can do anything. There's nothing too hard for him to do. There's nothing too impossible for him to do. But sometimes our own limitation is what makes God. If God should bless you, he can break you. And so God knows the frailties of your vessel, and that's why he's always thinking of ensuring that you get the needed. A church that cannot process 700, God will not bring 700 your way. And so after 4 years, 800 becomes 1,600. So in 4 years, the church has added 1,005 years. You can see that there is some benefit in consistency. Okay, if you are consistent with a fixed church retention rate, it's better than when you are growing and then declining, or taking one step forward and 3 steps backwards. Okay, you are doing well and then you now do something to cancel all the things you are doing well. So one of the things I'll say quickly is that your retention rate, whatever you're doing to your retention rate, must be such that it is constant, and then you are able to build up and build up and build. What the problem is this, that once you have this kind of one-to-one conversion rate, we're going to have a lot of babies in the church, are going to have a lot of immature disciples in the church, and we're saying that after 3 years, about 12.5% of your congregation, of the 800, that's 700 of them will be immature, which is about 87.5%, and just 12.5% will be matured. But see, as the church takes in one more year, you can see that the number of people who are matured was reduced by 50%. So we're saying that after 4 years, the people who are going to be matured in your church is about 6.25%, and the people who are not matured in your church is about 93.75%. You can see that the longer you are able to be consistent with your church retention rate in one-to-one conversion ratio, the more you need to make sure that you address this problem. And you are not in this scenario, but put your church in order in case that this is the ideal, that you can begin to establish and mature every disciple that God has brought your way in your church. So that's just the problem I want to just let you know. So, but the thing is, acquiring a new member is important, but retaining them on a consistent basis accelerate discipleship and church growth. So one of the things I will say quickly is that the discipleship plan is very, very important. 4 plans that you need as you go into 2023. You need to have your ministry action plan. This is very, very important. 1 has to be your evangelism plan. 2, it has to be your discipleship plan. 3, it has to be your assimilation plan. Okay. 4, it has to be your leadership development plan. Those 4 plans are very, very important, because if you put all those 4 plans together, the goal is that you should be able to establish some spiritual disciplines. And I made clear in the last Monday that spiritual disciplines are in 3 forms. There's the inward spiritual discipline, there's the outward spiritual discipline, and you see one of the hiccups of some HR problem is, how do you begin to measure the inward spiritual discipline? Because those are the most important. Somebody can fake the outward spiritual disciplines. You can come to church and put a face that you are fasting or something like that, and you think that the person is actually doing some good work in terms of spiritual discipline. So the 3 is the inward spiritual discipline, outward spiritual discipline, and then the corporate spiritual discipline. Okay, when you have all these individuals who are very good in their inward spiritual discipline, outward spiritual discipline, then you can begin to work on the corporate spiritual discipline. I'm going to just stop here, and then we're going to dive into those spiritual discipline on how you can be able to address those problems as God brings more people to your church. Am I confident of the fact that there is going to be a revival where multitude will come to your church? Yes, God is going to do so much. The pandemic was good. You can see that most of our churches were able to grow online, on site, but you see, we need to begin to continue to expand our capacity, because God cannot give you beyond what you have capacity for. God cannot give you beyond what you have structured for, or what you have been ordered for. So your capacity determines what you get of God, and God is unlimited, but what you're going to receive from Him is limited because of what your capacity is all about. I'm running out of time, but we're going to wrap this up with some good spiritual discipline next week, Monday, to wrap up the year. And then next year, we're going to look at yardsticks to see or to know that your church is healthy. We're going to revisit that again, and then we'll see how God helps help your church. Thank you for following up with me so far. I want to thank you. You have any church related questions, please feel free to get across to me on all the social media handles. You have any church related questions, please let me have those questions. You have any inquiry for me, let us have it in any of the social media. I'm the receptionist of my company, and so I respond to every comment. See you in the comment section. Let's interact. You have any question of any kind of, as regards to your church, your leadership. I love to talk to pastors. Please let us get the conversation continuing from this broadcast, okay? And then please, if this video has been useful to you, please give us a like. Okay, there's what they call artificial intelligence. Okay, give us a like. Go on all our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to them. Follow us on all those social media handles. Please, if this video has been helpful to you, give us a like. Do share us to your community. Drop us a comment. You've learned from me. I also want to learn from you. I also want to hear from you and learn from where you are. Hear from where you are watching me from. Drop us a comment in the comment section of what you feel about what we have discussed. We do revitalization. Your church is in a mess. We do consultations. We do trainings. I do that back to back. We also do strategic planning to develop a blueprint. 2023 is coming. How do you set goals? How do you come up with a strategic blueprint that can move your church from where it is right now to where it should be? I can also help you facilitate that. Reach out to us so I can help you do great things for God. Okay? Till I come your way next week Monday with a final lap of when church growth becomes a problem, and we're going to wrap and close the curtain for 2022 as we go into the year 2023. Till I come your way, I say bye-bye. I love you and God bless you.